Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to thank Chairman McHenry and Ranking Members Waters for convening this hearing on such a pertinent topic. It is very, very important. Mr. Williams, did I hear you correctly or hear about you correctly that you were on the NSC for the previous administration?
That's correct.
All right. During the time of the Trump administration, did we have any Chinese incursions of these spy balloons?
Like Mr. Harrell, I was part of the econ office, not the defense or national security part of the NSC.
So do you know or do you not know then?
I'm not aware. It's not my expertise to speak.
Right, not your expertise. It's not my expertise either, but I heard ones flying around, right? Obviously, and we shot it down. So during the time that you were there, were you told that there was a Chinese spy balloon flying all around the United States?
That's not the kind of thing I would have been briefed on.
Okay, so you didn't hear about that?
It's not the kind of thing I would have been briefed on.
Okay. The reason I ask is it seems that there were a number of Chinese spy balloons that were flying around, and nobody shot them down. In fact, it seems like they didn't even know about them, sadly. Talking about strength, they didn't even know they were there. This president gets criticized because he shot it down. The other president didn't even see the damn things. But anyway, I think it's a little bit like the hypocrisy of this debt limit when President Trump raised it 3 times, added $7 trillion to the deficit, and I didn't hear a peep out of my colleagues on the other side other than, raise it more, raise it more. And all of a sudden, now they're fiscal hawks. You know, we've got to do something about that damn deficit. Yeah, after you guys raised it so much by giving all that money to the wealthy guys, great. But anyway, we're here about this CCP. I do want to ask this. And I want to thank the comment that was made by some of my colleagues on the other side, and that was that we're really here to talk about the Chinese Communist Party, not the Chinese people, and make that distinction. You know, the Chinese people are good people, like good people everywhere. And we do have a problem in this country with Asian hate, and we don't want to flame that. But at the same time, we do want to go after our adversaries, our competitors, and that's the Chinese Communist Party. So I think it's very appropriate that we look at how we can fight back. And I was also very pleased to hear from some of my colleagues that they believe in the preeminence of the U.S. dollar and the reserve, and that the dollar is the world's reserve currency. I think that's very, very important. I hope we keep to that. But I would say this, we have done a lot. The administration has done a lot to combat what the Chinese have been doing, the Chinese Communist Party. When China deployed its Belt and Road Initiative to increase its economic coercion across the globe, the Biden administration launched partnerships for global infrastructure investment with our G7 partners. When China threatened trading norms and international agreements in the Indo-Pacific, the Biden administration launched the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework, or IPEF, with 13 partner countries that together with the U.S. represent over 40% of global GDP. When the CCP decided to detain and oppress the Uyghurs, we passed the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act to ensure that our companies do not source products using forced labor in their production. When the CCP attempted to become the new manufacturing capital of critical computing components, we worked together on a bipartisan basis to pass the CHIPS and Science Act. When we needed to modernize our domestic infrastructure to ensure our companies can compete globally, we passed the Bipartisan Infrastructure and Jobs Act. So yes, the CCP is a great threat, but when we work together across the aisle, especially, and put people over politics, we can mount a focused response to increase our economic competitiveness and produce good, clean jobs right here at home and protect our national security. And that's why I always find it interesting when we have some of my colleagues complaining about the Chinese, and I ask them, where's your suit made? And they say, I don't know, why don't you take a look? And you find out that it's made in China. I said, where's your tie made? Made in China. Where are your shoes made? They look them up because they don't know it's made in China. So if we really do believe that we're competing, we should start buying American and some of our allies instead of just buying the cheapest thing that you can find out that it looks good. With that, I yield back my time.
Gentleman yields